Hey fellow Vaultwares, it's Angry Turtle, and this video I want to explain how exactly VATS criticals works and sneak criticals, because those two are very different. First, to have some starting point, I'm removing all damage related perks. As you can see, there is no damage related perks apart from Tank Killer, that is armor penetrating perks. It doesn't directly affect the damage if target is already low armor, and I want to take armor out of this equation to simplify the things. And with the Tank Killer, most of low level mobs will have effective armor for my weapon of 0. As well, to be absolutely sure that for a starting point we don't have any interference from the mutations, I'm going to eat 1 Radex, what basically suppresses all the mutations. As you can see, mutations that not work apart from Speed Demon, Hunger and Thirst, but that will not affect damage numbers. And we are starting with just a fixer, basically standard modifications for commando build, powerful receiver, everything aligns with the reflex side dot suppressor. And we have some Scourge that volunteered for testing. 53 damage. Yeah, first shot did not register, but 53 damage. And now that's critical for 105 damage. Then it's basically doubled what critical is supposed to do, what my normal hit is doing. It's basically double damage. Now, if I'm sneaking, it's 105 damage, and it's basically the same without the VATS critical, just sneak critical. It's the same. But now with a VATS critical, it's 158. Then VATS critical is basically the same. And what's the deal with the VATS critical? Unfortunately, for whatever reason, the VATS criticals only take into the consideration base weapon damage. It's the very base weapon damage. Without any legendary effects, without any perks. I don't mean the weapon damage that you normally see in here, but weapon damage that you see in here if you don't have any perks and any mutations affecting your damage. Basically nothing affects your damage. Then you see this damage, and this damage is always taken for VATS criticals for whatever reason. I feel like it shouldn't be like that, because it's not like it works in any other game. In any other game, whatever critical will just double your damage. In this case, it's not. The critical only adds 100% of base weapon damage at the end of the calculation. After all other bonuses are applied, like let's say I have this 53, I will have multiple bonuses to boost it, or like, for example, I will use Blooded. VATS critical will still add only 53 points of damage, not 93, 53. And as you go higher in your damage, the bonus stays the same. That's quite a big issue, and it's how the VATS critical stays pretty low on the list, even though it's supposed to be a great perk. With a sneak critical, I'm doing 189 damage. And now sneak critical plus VATS, 242 damage. Every time it will be 53 damage from VATS critical with 100%, I mean no bonuses to VATS critical, like critical savvy or mutation or eagle eyes mutation. No critical savvy, no eagle eyes mutation, nothing, just regular 100%, meant only base damage for the fixer, 53 damage, plus minus 1 sometimes because of rounding errors. And to summarize, basically, how the VATS critical works and what is affected. It's a base weapon damage, not the weapon damage from the card, but very base weapon damage without any special bonuses. For the fixer with powerful automatic receiver is 53. The receiver is the only thing that counts towards the critical damage. Damage from the receiver goes toward the base weapon damage and is included into calculation, what means 100% VATS crit damage is 53 damage always, and it's added at the end of your damage calculation. What means doesn't matter how much perks you have, how much your sneak critical is, After calculating all your damage, this will be added at the end. If you will have, like, let's say 200% VATS critical, like let's say with mutation, with some perk and legendary effect on the weapon, this will be 106 damage added at the very end of the calculation. You can have a weapon with a receiver that increases critical damage, like in this case it's a tweaked automatic receiver, but to simplify it a lot, it's not worth it. Powerful receiver will give you always more damage, even with a critical. Powerful receiver will give you more damage than the receiver that's supposed to do it. Like here's sneak critical with a VATS without perks 159. Now the fixer with powerful receiver, keep in mind 159 number, and 158. It's basically the same already, and when you add perks and all other stuff, the advantage will go towards powerful receiver. Okay, Radek stopped working finally. We can start to doing some tests and some showcase how it works with the mutations. The mutations I have at this moment that affect my damage is Adrenal Reaction, and mutation that affects critical is Eagle Eyes, adding 25%. Unfortunately, this 25% looks so great only on paper. In practice, it's 13 damage. Now what else you should know? By quick look into my special, 33 luck is a magic number. If you have a 33 luck and you will equip critical savvy, it means that your every second shot can be a critical. And there is one other advantage of the critical over just extra damage. It's guarantee hit. That is actually important in many cases, especially if enemy is outside of your range and you can start with a critical. I have critical ready. I shoot with this critical. I kill. Then I shoot another target. And my critical is ready again. 33 is a minimum required number for the luck to get critical every second shot with critical savvy. You see, my critical is ready again. 237 with critical, and with just a sneak attack, 158. Then you can see difference isn't very big, and I'm already getting bonus from the Eagle Eyes. Now let's swap into my Blooded Fixer. Now how the sneak attack, sneak critical works. First, enemy cannot be engaged in combat with anything else or with any other players, with any other mobs, and then you just sneak, and base value is double damage, but it's a double damage of everything apart from VATS critical if you do VATS critical. Then if I shoot without it, it's 146. If I shoot with a sneak critical, it's 292. It's a double. Now let's spec again into damage. If you want to use perks like Mr. Sandman or Covert Operative, those are direct multipliers for your sneak criticals. And you should equip it if it's a knight, Mr. Sandman first, and then Covert Operative if you need to maximize your critical damage. As you see now, it's 3.75 damage from the sneak critical, and it is quite a lot. Therefore, sneak criticals is the highest possible multiplier for all your damage that we can have in Fallout 76. Those is going crazy high, and this is how you do the highest possible damage. But if you are going purely for full damage build, VATS criticals are actually useful. It's only a little bit more damage for the fully spec build, but it's always a little bit more damage that you can need if you are going for as fast as possible kill on Scorpius Queen. Now, is there a case apart from killing Scorpius Queen as fast as possible when you would like to go and spec for VATS criticals? Yes, there is a case for that, especially if you play with a full health build and on a team, what means you cannot use sneak criticals, and you have much less damage multipliers than if using Blooded build, because Blooded build, how much it gives? It's exactly weapon in a Nerd Rage, 80% damage. Yo perk, Nerd Rage, another 20% damage, it's 100% damage. And Yo mutation, Adrenal Reaction, 50% extra damage when below 20% health. And it's a whooping total of 150% extra damage. That's a lot. And it's not multiplied by VATS critical, therefore if you have build like that, VATS criticals are not really visible too much. Let me show you. I will equip some extra damage for VATS criticals, better criticals. I have critical savvy to have my criticals back. And now let me show you what will be the damage difference when I will be fighting those super mutants. 1049, just a sneak critical. And VATS critical, 1138. Then I'm basically getting less than 100 extra damage from the VATS critical when I already spec for a VATS criticals. I have Eagle Eyes, I have one perk boosting its damage. It's a day now, I lost some of the sneak critical damage. Now, where VATS critical are the best? Let me show you what's the situation where VATS critical are the best. First, it's for the shotgun builds. Then let me equip a shotgun. I have just a regular one with a suppressor, combat shotgun, hardened receiver, just a standard modifications. Now, with a shotgun, you then go, and if you spec for a criticals, you get rid of your critical savvy, and you toss in 4-leaf clover. If you want, you can as well use psychopath, but it requires you to kill target in order to trigger it. Then if you cannot kill target like in every shot, it's not as useful. But in case of shotguns, because every pellet triggers those effects, every pellet triggers 4-leaf clover, and every pellet triggers psychopath, then those are quite useful. Let me demonstrate. After the critical, first shot will just deplete your bar, but another shot have a chance to trigger the effect. Unfortunately, you cannot chain them, do crit, 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 and crit. It was the case in the past, it was patched, but to just quickly summarize everything, perks like Psychopath and 4-leaf clover, those are good with shotguns, especially high health build, low lag build, I mean relatively low compared to unyielding, then those are really good. For high lag build, if you have 33 lag, toss in critical savvy. Every second shot is guaranteed hit, some extra damage, not very much, but always. Use better criticals only if you have some room under lag for some extra cards, because it's really very low damage increase. For most rifles, 20% will be equal to like 10 damage. Then you are getting 10 damage, whooping 10 damage. It will not be multiplied by anything else. It will be 10 damage total at the end of the calculation. Because for whatever reason, VATS critical count from the base weapon damage includes only the receiver, nothing else. None of your other bonuses, like your commando perks, does not apply. Your Nerd Rage does not apply. If you have any other damage related perks, does not apply into your calculation of VATS criticals. It's added at the end of the calculation. Now the sneak critical, that is a different story, because those apply your total damage. All your total damage can be multiplied up to 3.75 if there is a knight and you toss Mr. Sandman first and then covert operative. Then this is a huge bonus. Downside is, if you play on the team and mobs are engaged into combat, you will not get those bonuses. Upside of VATS critical is guaranteed hit, and those work great with a full health shotgun builds, especially medic shotgun and support build. I hope this video will help you understand how this stuff works and what is worth for you and what's not worth for you to use. If you have any questions, as always, please go into the comment section. I always try to read every single comment and reply as soon as I can. And now, thank you a lot for watching, and see you guys in the next one.